Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to rank every single tier 5 in Bloons Tower Defense 6. So we got S+, S, A, B, C, D, F, and can't say, meaning like I don't use it enough to have a fair say. So, starting off very strong with you. I'm not gonna put you in S+, but I'll put the Bloon Max in S, because it is not very good for the early game, but it is extremely good for the late game and ultra late game. It can pop a ZOMG, well, not pop it, but turn a ZOMG or lower into a red balloon instantly. And eventually ZOMGs get harder and harder to pop, so it gets better and better. So I'm gonna put in S tier just because it's not S+, because it's not good for the early rounds. And it's kind of expensive. Well, not so much. Also probably another S tier. It like is a buff to your other ones, if I believe, or maybe not. I might be wrong about that. But it gives you massive income, and it generates a lot of money per round, and it is really good if it's paired with the Monkeyopolis, I've noticed. This one, I'll give it maybe C tier. Just not a tower that's very like commonly used. It's not really good for any strategies, but it's not like completely horrible either. I'd say you're better off getting the tier 3 or the tier 4 and maybe not upgrading it all the way. This is an A tier. It's kind of expensive, which is why it's not ranked as high, but it stops a lot of really high ranked balloons, and it pops them really fast. It's good for chimps. But who's better for chimps is the man, the myth, the legend, the crossbow master. My favorite tower in the game. It is super cheap, and it is like the power of like probably 3 of these, or maybe not, but it's so good for such a low price. It's good against DDTs, good against COMGs, B80s. It's good against anything really, and even like round 63 it can do. I use it in my main chimp strategy, and maybe not for like an expert map. I wouldn't beat it in chimps, or use it for chimps. But I use it all the time for like anything really. Even like in a boss event, you can get it early on, and it's just so cheap. It's easy. Like you can just use it any time you want. I don't see why you wouldn't use it. And the only downside is as soon as you get to like the upper rounds, like 140. Probably like even like 110, 120, it just starts to get bad. So that's the only reason I'm not putting it. That's the only bad thing about it, I'd say. This guy, what's his name again? I don't remember, but he's an A tier. The only reason he's not S tier is because you have to get a bunch of people around, a bunch of tier 4s to buff him to make him a little better. But once you do that, and maybe put like a village, so there's camo, I don't think you can see camo, then he's really good, and good chimp strategy as well. So yeah, he's Nate's here. So this guy, I say he's overrated like crazy. I don't say he's F tier, but he has a trap. It takes like maybe a balloon, and then it's full, and then like a big balloon, like a Moab or something, and then it's full. And I don't remember how expensive it is. I don't really use it all that much. I use it sometimes, but I just don't think it's good, really. I've never been like, ooh, I can't wait to put this tower down. No, I don't really use it in any strategies. Maybe it's good for like late game, but yeah. But the most underrated tower, I think, in the entire game. People do not know how good this thing is. I swear, I don't. Like, a bunch of people say this thing is horrible, but I actually love it. It pushes back Moabs. There's like 3 or 4 of them. I use it a lot. It's so good. It's not even expensive compared to the Apache Prime, which is definitely better, but still, it's not a bad path. I think people should reconsider using it. It's not so horrible. This guy, he's basically built for DDTs, but like nothing else he's really good for. So I'll just put him at B tier. All right. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. S tier. It's the Flying Fortress is just so good. It destroys things. It's just super expensive. Like, if it was a little cheaper, it'd be S plus, but like, it's not really gonna be part of your strategy as much. So, yeah, it's going there. All right, I think this is another underrated one. I'm probably give it A tier. So you can put a bunch of other, like, if you have a bunch of water, right, and you don't really use water towers that much, just put a bunch of these guys down. I mean, one is useless. You don't just get one. You want like 4 or 5, even 6 around of the tier 4s around it, and then it makes a ton of money. I mean, obviously not in like chimps or impoppable. Actually, no, sorry, in impoppable I would use it, but not in chimps, because chimps you can't make money. Obviously, then it's completely useless. But a lot of people say it's trying to be an offensive and a money making tower, but I mean, it doesn't really need that offensive part. I mean, you don't really have to care about that. It's not made to do damage. It's more made to make money, and it's very cheap. And it definitely makes more money than it is. Like, it definitely pays for itself. And if you get a bunch of other Buccaneers around it, it buffs them, makes them make more money as well. And then if you just get a bunch of them, you have a lot of money. So yeah, another underrated one, because people don't like it very much. All right. For this guy, he'd probably B tier. I mean, he also needs a lot of people around him for him to be really worth it. You don't just get one. And like, his darts are really powerful, and not much to say that's bad about him, but you have better options, and he takes up a lot of water, which is normally very limited. I guess on like Spice Islands he'd be really good, or like the new mermaid map, but like, I don't know. I think you have better options, and I think honestly the Buccaneer is just better than the sub in every way, and like, you shouldn't really use the sub as much. That's just my opinion, though. Some definitely people disagree with me. Also, all this is just my opinion. This is not facts. This is probably the farthest away from facts. I'm probably just an idiot, and these are all terrible ratings. But these are just my opinions and how I play. And I have like 20 black borders, so I mean, I kind of know what I'm talking about. But I mean, they're all beginner maps, so whatever. But this one is F tier. No, I'm joking. It's S plus tier. It's the best thing for making money in the entire game. It makes you trillions of quadrillions of dollars. You can buy every Paragon tier 100, Vengeful Sun God, and then every tier 5 in the game. Not really, but it's so good. And this is how you play the boss events with this thing. And this is how you get like a Paragon before round 100. A lot of people like think that's hard, getting a Paragon before round 100. Not really. I mean, you just need one of these with like a bunch of sacrifices. I don't really sacrifice it, but just a bunch of farms you have to put around it. And then yeah, it just makes so much money, and it also gives you like the free dart monkeys, which you can use this guy for, even though he sucks. But I mean, I don't really see what's wrong with it, and I think it is the best thing for making money in the entire game. So yeah, putting it there. And then, sorry, this beast right here, the Blue Incinerator, removes camo from DDTs, so already use that in chimps, and it's really good. But it doesn't do damage is the problem with it. I mean, it doesn't do very much. So I guess I'll give it an A. But for the removing DDTs, it's super good. Like, that's really good. So yeah, I'm putting it definitely at A. This guy, I feel like he's good for boss events, but literally nothing else. Like, you don't really get him in a normal game. I don't, anyway. Just he's so good for boss events though, especially really only the early like tiers. But I don't know. Are we just talking about the main game, or are we talking about the boss events? I don't know. If it's the main game, he's D. But if it's the boss events, I'll give him like B. What's me in the middle? He's a C tier, I'll say. He's not like too expensive, but he's kind of in the middle. He's a little overpriced, I think. But like, okay, so the boss events are like the tier 4 is better. Like the tier 4 is affordable and it does good. But this guy is like not as worth it, I feel like. We're not talking about the tier 4s, so I mean, the tier 4, if we were ranking tier 4s, it'd be A or S. But then it doesn't evolve very well. So this guy is definitely underrated. He's crazy underrated. He attacks so fast. I mean, he's not... So, the sniper's just such a good tower. All 3 of the paths are good. And he's in that group, so he's really good. The other 2 snipers are better, but, you know, just putting all 3 snipers in a corner is already doing you so good. And it's not the same without him. So, I'd say he's part of the sniper gang. He's so good. He shoots unbelievably fast. And if you get the top path, which I recommend you do, and you just put a village, don't get the middle path, then he does a lot of damage too, and I don't see why you wouldn't get him. And maybe not for the late game, but you know, he's just a really good tower, and he's definitely underrated. Okay, nobody's gonna argue me here, right? Nobody's gonna argue. I mean, just imagine using this thing in chimps, right? This is what I do. And then all those DDTs and everything on round 98 that you leak is just fine, because you have this thing at the back, and it takes out everything. The only problem, and I'm actually probably going to put it in S tier because of this problem, is that it can't do anything on multiple path maps. Like, it is useless on those maps. Unless you're playing co-op and you have, like, 2 people, and you can get 1 on each side. Then it is not very good. But, like, if you're playing a beginner map, or just any 1-path map, it's in S tier, but, like, if not, it's not as good. Or, no, if not, you don't get it. So, if not, it's, like, a C tier, or D tier. I mean, it takes care of 1 path, fine, maybe, but then, if you have 1 path, it's amazing. So, for that, I can't give it S+, but I'll give it an S tier. Now, this guy... So, for ultra late game, he's amazing. But there's literally no way you're going to get him any earlier than ultra late game. And the Paragons are more... Oh, what just happened? It just froze. Oh, okay. The Paragons are better, even though they're about the same price. But, I mean, you can only have so many Paragons, and they're not the same price because you have to increase the tier and blah, blah, blah. But I'd say he is B tier because of his... Maybe if it weren't for his ability, he'd be, like, D tier for his price. But his ability to remove everything, like, everything that kills you. Like, if you lose lives, he just absorbs it, even if it's, like, ZOMGs or BADs, like, or DDTs. I mean, that saves you, like, so many times. Like, you have to get it in ultra late game. Like, it can make you go multiple rounds later, but it just sucks for, like, the damage wise. I mean, okay, no, it doesn't, but you have better options damage wise. But the ability, actually, I'm gonna give it 8 here because its ability is just so good, and it's not even like an ability that, you know, it's not even like a middle path ability. It just automatically does it, and you can also move around the map, and I think it's just a really good tower, but it's too expensive, and you're never gonna afford it in, like, anything but ultra late game, unless, like, you're trying to get it early, but, I mean, I don't really see why you would. So, I'll just give it an 8 here. Now, tax zone. I like the tax zone, but, I mean, it's not really that good. It's amazing for boss events, we all know, but I mean, why not just get like a crossbow master or something better? I mean, it's just like, I don't know, I feel like you don't really need it. Like, there's way better things you can get. I'll give it C tier. Yeah, and it's cheap. I'll give it B tier for just how cheap it is, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe getting a top path village and like having a primary strategy is good for it. Then just get the top path, which we're gonna talk about. That's probably gonna be an S plus. Top path is so good. Anyway, ultra boost is probably an S tier. You can boost like all your towers, and you know there's like the abilities kind of stays, and it just like you use this for the Monkeyopolis. You can get like multiple more farms in it, and it's so good, and it makes all your towers better. Like it's a little pricey, but like for ultra late game, kind of like this guy, it's just so good. It makes you survive much longer. And like maybe managing is a little difficult, but I mean, how difficult is it really? Just when you see the ability to just boost a tower. I mean, there. Wow. This guy, he's good for the early game, but like terrible for the late game. I'll give him A tier for his price. Cross paths or not the cross paths. Sorry, the tier 3 and the tier 4 are both so good, and it removes camos. So not from DDTs, but from regular balloons. So I guess it's really good. But once it gets like around 90, not so good anymore. So I'll keep it at A tier. Okay, do we really need to talk about this guy? He sucks. Like, he just sucks. He makes like your other base towers like shoot fast for a little bit, and not shoot fast, but they turn into like these little monsters, and I mean, it's not good. Like, the other tier 5s with abilities, they're at least doing some damage when their ability isn't active. But this guy, no, he's not doing anything unless his ability is active. And, you know, it takes up a bunch of space. You have to have these useless towers all around him. And, like, they have to be, like, base dart monkeys or base, like, other towers. Like, just use your space a little better, I would say. This thing, just get the other farms. Both the other farms are so much better. I'm gonna give it a C tier. Its ability, yeah, it gives you $10,000 instantly, but it's like so expensive for this thing. I feel like it takes forever to make up for it. You have better options for making money. I don't know for this guy. Like, I don't know. I feel like he kind of falls off in the late game. Like, and I feel like it's the same case with the attack shooter, where he kind of just isn't worth it. Like, you have better options, really. I'd say he's a little worse than the attack shooter, though. And for this guy, he's really good. Crazy damage. Maybe not an S tier. Maybe, no, I'd say he's an S tier. Crazy fast shooting, crazy damage. You know, top path village with him and like a crossbow master is just such a good combo. You just win. Like, yeah, I would say he's just not S plus, because he's just not like the best thing ever, but you know, he's not bad. Okay, this is another F tier. I mean, you just have to have a bunch of base dart monkeys around. Like, why? Why? Although maybe he's D tier, because at least he could be potentially a chimp strategy. No, I mean, I don't see that happening, honestly, though. I'd say he stays at F. Alright. This one. A lot of people would just instantly put this S plus. But I'm honestly going to rank it down a little and put it at S. S, just remember, S is such a good tier, too. So, like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not. But it's a little pricey. And it shreds balloons. But, like, it kind of falls off in the late game. I mean, a lot of these towers do, so I don't really know why that matters. But, I mean, eventually, it's just like, yeah, okay, he's weakening the Moabs, and he takes out, like, the ceramics, which is really, really good. But I'm just not putting him at S tier for his price, and also, because I don't really think he's, like, a good chimp strategy, and, like, he doesn't really fall into any strategies. You kind of just get him. I guess that's a good thing, though. Okay, I think we'll give it to him, though. I just don't really see why not. He's just... I don't use him that much, but when I do use him, I do really well. He's not, like, a good chimp strategy. That's the only thing I'd say that's bad about him. I don't know, it's kind of a hard choice for me. I'll give him the very tippity top of S, sorry. He's really good, but I don't think he's S plus worthy. Like, the Crossbow Master, I know people probably think it's better than Crossbow Master, but Crossbow Master is just so cheap. Like, and it's, like, just a perfect tower, really. And, like, Top Path Village, like, any primary monkey is just kind of better because the Top Path Village is... I should just go find that right now. Like, where is that? Sorry, I'm lagging a bit here. Sorry, I just wanted to go find this. S plus, instant S plus. It is the best. It's the best support tower in the entire game, at least for primary, obviously. I mean, and it attacks. Like, what more do you want from the village, really? My God, so good, so good. And, like, even you can also get, like, a radar, and it can make all your primary monkeys see camo. Actually, it makes all monkeys see camo. Just the only thing that kind of sucks is it's only primary, but the boost it does give to primary is so good, and I kind of like primary monkeys the most, like, honestly. So that's why this is totally my opinion, and this is kind of based off of my strategies, but it's such a good tower. It boosts really, really well. It has a really good boost for your towers, and it makes the first two upgrades free. And, like, for the glue gunner, like, 020, that's like $1,000. Like, I don't want to buy that, and that's completely free with this thing. I mean, what's not to like about it? I mean, imagine you have, like, a crossbow master, a permacharge, and, like, I don't know, like a inferno ring or something. That's so good. And if you get one of the top hats, you're just gonna win. I mean, that's kind of how my chimp strategy goes, and it works so well. Like, I barely lose, like, if ever. And, like, okay, maybe you need a middle path village for the, like, the metal, but it's just really good. It's nothing bad enough about it that would put it any lower. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I had a lot to say about that. Okay, this is our first can't say. Okay, maybe we put it just an F. I've used it, like, maybe 5 times, and I hated all those 5 times. It sucks. Okay, why would you not just get a bottom path? Like, it barely does anything to Moabs. Like, it really doesn't. And it doesn't even slow them that much. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't get a valid opinion about this one. But the couple times I have used it, I didn't like it. And that's why I don't want to ever use it again. But maybe I don't know what it does, really, so I'm gonna say it's an F tier, because guess I've used it enough that I can put it in F. But, you know, I've only used it a few times, so maybe don't listen to my opinion. But that's where I'm putting it, so. Alright, for this helicopter, special operations. I don't know, maybe like, I don't really like it. Like, a lot of people really like this tower, but I never use it. Like, why would you use it? I mean, what does it do, really? Like, it gives you some money, some lives, pushes balloons back a little. It doesn't do anything to Moabs. It spawns those little, like, basically, like, 203 snipers. I think they're kind of, like, I don't know. I don't really think it's that good. It can move towers. I guess that's pretty good. But, I mean, why would you really need to move towers, though? Like, I don't know. I don't really think it's that good. So I'm gonna put in D tier. Alright. I'm gonna put this guy at A tier. I'll give him B tier. I mean, he slows balloons, yeah. Place things on water, yeah. Well, just for the fact that he can place things on water, I'll give him A. And he does have a really, really good slow. He's not getting any pops at all, but I mean, you know, he has some good slowing, and I mean, that's really all he does is slow things, but I'll keep him at A. I do use him, so. Alright, this guy is probably an S tier. His bomb is so good. It, like, wipes out everything. It has a little bit of a long recharge, which can get annoying in, like, the 90s. You just have to time it right, and then it's so good. It just annihilates everything. So I actually really like it. So S tier. I mean, it's just not S plus because the ability's really the only thing good about it. It doesn't really do much on its own. It has the little bombs, and you can kind of time the plane right to hit the balloons. But I mean, they're not really worth it in the later rounds. And for the early rounds, I don't know, you have better options than an ace. So I'm gonna give it S tier. But just remember, the ability is the only thing it's good for. Like, the only thing. So yeah. Okay, this guy. I don't know if most people would agree, but I'm going to give this also an S tier. I mean, it slows balloons down. No, it slows Moabs down like crazy. They will not move. And also, if you have a absolute 0, nothing is moving, really. Like, nothing is moving. So I think it's super good. It's a really good tower, and there's not much wrong with it. Just for the fact it doesn't do any damage, I don't want to put it in S+. But it slows all your balloons down, everything. It's just a super good tower, and it's really beneficial. Even for, like, the later rounds. Like, it never falls off like a lot of towers do. Pirate Lord. How can we not give this S tier? Its ability takes, like, 2 super strong balloons, and it's super cheap. This is super cheap. Like, and it just doesn't, the reason it's not S+, it doesn't do very much base damage, like, without the ability. And you have to time the ability right, and it kind of, I mean, I don't know, there's nothing really bad about it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put an S tier. For the, I can't say anything about this. I never use it. Like, I literally never use it. I've used it, like, once in my entire life. I never use it. I have nothing to say about this one. If you asked me how good it was and you had a gun to my head, I could not answer for the life of me. I have no clue how this thing works. I know it's good. I know it's good, but I just don't like it. Like, I don't really like the sub in general. And its cross path is kind of bad. So I don't use it, like, ever. So I can't even really tell you what the ability does. It does a lot of damage. Like, I don't know. But a tower I do use all the time. Well, I don't use the tier 5, but I use the tier 3 and tier 4 all the time. The tier 5 is also really good. I just don't really have the chance to buy it, honestly. It's just a crazy buff. It's just a crazy buff. And it makes all your towers see everything. So they can see camo, they can see pink, they could see black, they could see the white, they could pop the metal. I mean, it's perfect for DDTs. It does a lot of, well, it doesn't do any damage, but it buffs your towers like crazy. So, you know, it's perfect, and it's S tier. But it's just not S plus because, you know, there's a far superior village. So, and a lot of people don't like the top path village. I totally disagree. It's probably my favorite tower in the game. Super good. Anyway, enough talking about that. Okay, the artillery. No, it's not called the artillery. Pop and Awe. I use the tier 4 a lot, so I'm used to saying that. Pop and Awe is probably an A tier. It's really, really, really fast, and its ability is even faster, but it has good damage, and it kind of only hits one spot, so that's why it's not any higher, and it's just not something you buy very often. I feel like, some people do, but it's just kind of eh. Like, it's cool. I definitely like it, but I don't know. I'd say it's not like the crazy good. Okay, but this thing, S. Just for its ability. Its ability slows everything. It makes them more damaged when they spawn in. Especially for the late game, it's crazy good. It just doesn't have any base damage. That's why it's not S+. It has no base damage. Like, none. Like, even less than the Ace. Like, it's basically, like, a base ninja. But its ability is so good, and it will get like hundreds of thousands, even million pops, but like only for ultra late game. But even for like the earlier rounds, it slows everything by like a lot, and it's a long ability. So S tier, maybe even, no, not S plus, but I will give it S tier. All right, elite sniper is, I don't know. So a lot of people love this sniper like crazy. Like, oh, it lagged. I think it's the best thing ever invented, but I feel like it's good, but it's a little overrated. I'm gonna give it A tier. It has the bouncing bullets, yeah, very cool. It has the elite targeting, yeah, very cool. No, I'll give it S tier. I think it's a little overrated, but it's still a really good tower. Like I said with the elite sniper, the elite defender, all the sniper paths are really good, and it's not an exception. It's probably the best out of the three of them, and its bouncing bullet does tons of damage, and it buffs all the snipers, so, and also it makes money, so like, yeah, it's just a really, really good tower. So I'm gonna give it S tier. It's not S plus because, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's worthy of S plus. You know, I don't think it does enough for its price. Its price isn't much, but it's just a good tower. I don't really see why you wouldn't get it, but it's not good enough for S plus. I think it's a little overrated because people like basically everyone I talk to would put it in S plus, but I think it's just S. So that's my opinion on it. So a carpet of spikes is a little interesting. For the carpet of spikes, I'll probably give it C tier. Its spikes just don't do very much. Like, I feel like they don't really impact that much. I guess I'll give it B tier because of how much spikes it makes, but they just don't seem like they do enough to be like good. And it's not like it's super, super cheap either. It's not like expensive, it's in the middle, but for its price, I don't think it's worth it. What do we got? This guy. Alright, this is kind of hard. I don't know. So, oh, what just happened? Oh, my phone is lagging. Alright, I'll give him a B tier. His ability does do a lot. Indeed. But it's so expensive, and I don't think it's worth that much. I think I'm gonna give it C tier. Oh my god, I just messed something up. I think I'm gonna give it C tier. It's just not worth it. Like, for that much money, I don't think it's worth it. And I think you should, once you have 80,000, you should get like there's a couple other towers, like a Ray of Doom, or maybe a bottom path ace, like a flying fortress. I don't think this is what you should get if you have that much money. And it's build up. Well, we're not talking about those though, but it's not that good either, the build up. But that's not what I'm ranking them by. I also don't use this thing. I don't. So I'm just gonna say that I don't. I know it's good. It's just too expensive. Like, it's so expensive, but I don't use it because I don't see where I'd put that much money. I guess I've used it enough for the Paragon to rate it. You know, to get the Paragon, because Paragon's not that good either, by the way. But oh my god. I don't know what that was. I feel like for 40,000, I think that's how much it is. You can buy way better. I guess it's cool. It's Phoenix is like permanent, but I mean, it's just eh. I'd rather get something else. I guess I'll give it C because it is pretty powerful. But anyway, all right. Most people hate this thing. I think it is unbelievably underrated. I think it is like, why are people putting this so low? Like, it is so good. It instantly, like, its ability charges so fast, and the saws, like, they go everywhere. And like, okay, fine, it's not good for the late game. Fine, I agree. But for like the 80s and the 70s, it's so good. Like, especially if you have like a village around it, so it can see camos and medals and stuff. For like 78 and like 76 and like 63, and why not? Its ability can solo those, and it charges enough for the next rush. I mean, like for 63, I'm pretty sure if you used the ability while the ceramics come, and then you waited, once the next ceramics come, your ability's ready again. That's how fast it recharges. And it's not expensive at all. And like, it's probably like up there with the cheapest tier 5s. Like, it's up there. So that's why I'm putting it there. And I know people hate that I said that, and a lot of people disagree, but trust me, just use it a few times, and yeah, it's so good. It's really, really good. Its ability it's so fast. It charges so fast. Okay. Perma Brew is clearly the worst tower in the game. And that is sarcasm, because it's probably the best tower in the game. My god. It just buffs everything by so much. And like, the coolest thing about it is you don't even need to keep it. Like, you can buy it, wait for it to give all its potions to the other people, and then sell it. But you don't really need to do that. But I mean, it's just so good. It buffs everything so much, and it's fine. It's a little pricey, fine. Its build up is like, I know we're not talking about that, but its build up is really, really good. Like it's such a good tower, and it is definitely worth the investment, especially for late game, even for chimps maybe. So good, and again, you can just sell it, so that makes it like super cheap, and its ability stays forever. So yeah, really, really good tower. All right, this guy. Oops. Okay, so it is probably yeah, it's S tier. It gives a ton of money. It just gives so much, like so much. I don't know. Should it be S plus? No, I think it's just S. I just think you're better off getting a Monkeyopolis and then getting this after, for the money, for the farming, for boss events, like anything really. It's just super good, makes tons of money, and it is a lot of money, but it makes it, pretty sure it makes it up pretty fast. So yeah, good tower. It's definitely worth the investment, but it's kind of hard to commit to. I don't use it. I don't use this one either. It slows balloons, right? I think it does, yeah. I never use the bomb shooter in general. Like, I don't use it that much. I use the other paths a little bit. I never use the top path. Like, it is not something I've bought in probably like so many games. Probably haven't bought this thing in weeks. Like, probably much longer than that, actually. I just don't use it. Like, this one's a little more controversial because a lot of people use it, like, all the time, but I never use it. But I don't think people use this top path very much. I don't think it's very good. So, yeah, I'd say that's why I put it there. Alright, for this Glaive Lord, I think. Yeah, this is Glaive Lord. It's good. It's really good. Probably not S, though. Because its damage against mobs is just okay. But it isn't, like, terrible. Like, A tier is still good. A tier is still very good. Like, it starts to be a little mid at C and maybe B. But B is still worth getting. C is where it starts to get bad. So, if I'm putting something at A, it's still good. Like, so the Glaive Lord is still good. It's just not worthy of S or S+. It's cheap. It does very well against like 63, 78, 676. What's the way later? Ceramic Rush, I don't remember. But yeah, it's very good. It kind of lacks in like the ZOMG BAD damage ability. Maybe it does something against mobs, but that's why it's A tier. And this guy is also gonna be A tier. I think he's underrated. I think he's definitely underrated. Some people are like, oh, but he has to be on specific maps, blah, blah, blah. But not really. I mean, he definitely sucks for the advanced maps. That's definitely true. He's not good on the advanced maps or the multiple track maps. But, like, especially on the maps that he's good for, though, he excels. Like, he destroys, especially for, like, chimps. But even if it's not those maps, like, he still does really well. Sure, he doesn't hit everything, but you can always find, like, a loop or something where he does have a good amount of stuff that he hits. Like, so I think he's really good. He's probably the cheapest. I think he is the cheapest. Maybe not, but super, super, super cheap, and it's definitely worth it. He's even good for chimps. I mean, he's good for everything, just except for late game. But yeah, I'd say he's really, really good, and he's underrated. All right, F tier. It is so overpriced. It is ridiculous. Same for this thing. Well, maybe not this thing. We'll talk about that later. But It is not even close to what it's worth. I'd say it's worth like 50,000, not 100,000. Like, or whatever. It's expensive. It is way too expensive. Like, if it was 40,000 or like 50,000, it'd be an A tier or an S tier. But it is way, way too expensive. It's a good tower. Yes, it is a very good tower. But it is so ridiculous how overpriced it is. At least I would never spend that much for it. I mean, it's just not good enough for that much money. So, I don't know if it's worth F tier. I think it is an F tier, though. Alright, Sentry Champion. I love this thing. If you buff this thing, like if you have a couple things buffing it, it shreds through balloons. Anything. It shreds through anything. Nothing stops it. DDTs, nope. ZOMGs, nope. BADs, nope. Ceramics, nope. It beats everything. And it's not that expensive. I might put it in S tier. It's so good. I mean, it doesn't have much base damage, but its sentries do everything. They're so good. I cannot overstate how good they are. They're S tier is kind of where they have nothing bad about them. Like, it's totally worth the money. It's just such a good tower. It's the only Path of Engineer, actually. No, okay, never mind. I like the middle path. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's definitely the best engineer path, and I think it's underrated. I definitely think it's underrated. What else do we have? Patchy. Oh, I can't select it. Alright. The only thing that's bad about it, it's super good, right? But the only thing bad about it is that it's a little overpriced. Like, just, no. Sorry, no, I don't think it's overpriced. I think it's worth the money for sure. But, like, it's expensive, right? It's worth the money, but it is expensive, so it's like 50,000 or something. I can't remember exactly, but it does a lot of damage. It can basically solo it around 100 almost, but I mean, I guess it's, I don't know if it's S plus though. Like, I don't think this guy's S plus either, actually, because S plus is basically my favorite towers. So these guys just aren't my favorite, and I think they're so good, but they're just not S plus. Like, S plus is the best of the best, and these are close competitors, but they're not up there enough for me. What do we have now? What's this guy called again? The Sky Shredder. He's definitely an A tier. Definitely an A tier. I don't think he's an S tier, because, you know, the shots are just kind of random and they don't actually aim. But they do. He shoots so many that they definitely hit, and they definitely do hurt. But I think he's overpriced. I do think he's a little overpriced. I think, like, you can get better for less, so that's why he's not an S tier. But he's definitely good enough for A tier. Okay, so this is an S tier, no doubt in my mind. He just shreds everything. Like, just place him down in, like, the round 60 or 70, and just look at his pop count just skyrocket. Like, he just does so much damage, especially with his, like, his little planes that fly around and just shoot tons of darts. Just, there's nothing wrong with him. I think he's honestly should be more expensive. Like, I think he's underpriced, which is definitely a good thing for us anyway. So, maybe not for the balancing of the game, but, like, just nothing wrong with him. Nothing wrong with him. Alright. Super brittle. Can't say. Well, no, I can't say. Never use it. Like, literally never use it. I use it the least out of all the ones in can't say. I never use it. Like, I literally never use it. I honestly think I don't even remember. No, I don't even know what it does. Like, I don't even know. Like, I've got it maybe one time. Like, I genuinely don't know what it does. Like, I couldn't even begin to explain what it does. Like, what does it do? Like, I should be asking what it does, because I don't know. I do kind of like the design. I like how it's, like, purple, because it's, like, frostbite, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I don't know what it does. I don't. What does it do? Like, Jen, tell me in the comments. I don't know what this thing does. Oh, God. I couldn't even tell you if it's good or bad. Like, I couldn't even make a guess. I don't think people use it very much, so I guess it's kind of bad. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I got it. I think when I unlocked it, like, a couple years ago, like, 2 years ago, I think I used it maybe one time. Like, I think I only used it one time. One time, me and my friends were, like, playing, like, only one tower. So we were playing, like, only ace or something. And I placed it in, like, the bottom corner where it couldn't reach anything as a joke, and then sold it. That's the only time I can recall using it. Like, genuinely. I don't know anything about it. Overrated. This is so overrated. It's D tier. Like, it does nothing to mobs. It makes abilities a little faster, yeah. I don't really notice the difference, but it does make them faster. And it removes the camo, but there's already a couple things that do that, and it doesn't remove camo from DDTs, which is kind of the thing I want. That's the main problem for me, not the ceramics. So, I'd say it's D. Now, this guy. So, I don't know, this is a hard one for me. I'd say he's probably can't say. He's so damn expensive, I never can get him. Like, I don't even, like, begin to really know if he's good, because he's just so damn expensive. I don't get to ever buy him. Like, I never get the chance to buy him. I just always have a bottom path. Or maybe sometimes a middle path, because I use most of the towers. I try to use most of the towers, but, I mean, the ones in can't say, I just never really tried to. It's the best way to explain it, I guess. Alright, this guy, he's just probably an A tier. He really good damage, but that's about it. He just wants someone who drops a bomb that does pretty good damage. And he doesn't have any, I don't think he has camo detection. Well, no, that depends on the cross path, but he's not very good against DDTs. He's more good against the slow balloons, like the bads. I think he's an A tier. I think he's good, but I don't think he's an S tier. Cripple Moab. Probably tied with the Elite Sniper, in my opinion. Cripple Moab is so good, and the main thing I use him for is I put him on detecting camo, because he can kill those DDTs so fast. He can solo, like, round 80, even though he's like 30,000. I mean, a lot of towers can do that, but, well, no, sorry, I don't think he can solo round 80, but he can solo the ZOMG itself. Like, he can't solo the children. Like, if you were to put the balloon Trojan on the ZOMG, he could beat it, and it wouldn't even move the starting. It wouldn't even move from the start. So, because he stops the balloon, right? He slows it down. Which, by the way, that makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. So, he's not very good on his own. But that's like putting a glue gunner and expecting it to do all the work. Like, it's not going to. It needs another tower, and it's mainly for the slowing. But it does have a really good damage per shot. So, I mean, it's just really good. It's just really good. The only reason it's not S+ is because it's not very good on its own. So, yeah, I'll give it S. Alright, Inferno Ring. is probably, oops, where was that? A, I think. S. Is probably an S plus. And nobody uses this thing, so people are gonna disagree. But its fire does so much damage. Like, the ring just around it, especially on a map that loops, like, nothing is getting past it. I mean, especially with a top path village, like, and like a perma-brew and like an ultra boost. Like, if you boost it enough times, it is just so good. You can't even, like, it's okay, it's a little expensive, fine, it's a little bit expensive, but it is definitely worth the investment. And it shoots out like a little fireball that does so much damage, like so much damage. It is so good. It's definitely worth the money. It gets tons of pops. It's good in late game, good in early game. Good tower, super good tower. And it's underrated. It's definitely underrated. I said a lot of towers are underrated. I have so many towers in S. It's crazy. But I think so many towers are underrated. Like, so many towers people don't use enough. And the Inferno Ring, I feel like a lot of people would put an A or B, but I don't know why. What's wrong with that? Like, what is wrong with that? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in S tier, S plus. I use it all the time. It's so good. It's by far the best tac shooter path. Like, not even close to the other two. Archmage. I guess it's like an A. No, I'll give it an S, because it has good damage, like very good damage. It's not expensive, but I just don't use it that much. I mean, it's not like enough to put it in can't say that I don't use it, but I've used it enough times to know that it has good damage. It's a good tower, and it's nothing personal. Like, it's not like I don't like the tower because I don't use it. Just that I don't use it. Like, I don't, to be honest with you, I kind of stick to a couple different strategies I have. And I don't, like, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's in any of those, really. Like, okay, in Magic only, that's where it's good. That's where it would be good. But, like, other than that, I don't know, I don't use it. So, yeah, I'm going to put it in S. Oh my god, I am moving stuff like crazy. Okay, this guy is an F tier. And the reason for that, okay, probably people are, like, screaming and, like, throwing the phone across the room in that. I'm very controversial, by the way. I don't know if you could tell, but most people probably don't agree with me at all. But I think, for this reason, alright, listen to my logic. It shoots at normal balloons. It doesn't do anything to big balloons, right? It's like 20,000, 25,000 or something, right? So why at 25,000 would you need something against normal balloons? Like, by that time, you're fighting Moabs. Like, okay, 63, fine. Maybe that's the only round. But there's other things that do that and damage Moabs. So why get it? Like, why? I don't know. I don't know why. I don't see why. Like, I don't see why you would get it. And I've gotten it enough times that I'm not putting it in can't say. I have got it many times. And I can tell you that it's bad. It is. The logic doesn't make sense to me why you would get it. It does a little bit to Moabs, but it's not much. So I'm putting it in F tier. This guy's in S tier. I don't even know why I have to discuss that. But if you put the other, like, if you stack a bunch of 030 ninjas around him, he's buffed, which is just really good, and he shoots extremely fast if you do that. But even if you don't do that, he's still worth it. Really, really good. Alright, I think it was in this order, because that would make more sense. It's okay, let's say there's no sacrifices, right? Let's say there's no sacrifices, because this is the sacrifices. If you don't have any sacrifices and you just buy it for 400,000, for 425 or whatever it is, it sucks. Like, it sucks by itself. Like, I mean, yeah, it does damage, but it's $400,000. If it didn't do damage, it'd be worse than F. I'd have to make a new tier for it. It'd be so bad. But it does do damage, but it's just not even close to worth 400,000. I mean, you could buy like any other Paragon that would do more damage for even less. Like, some Paragons are more, but like even the ones that are less, even the Dart Paragon probably does more than that, more damage than it. It's just not good on its own. But if you have sacrifices, that's a whole nother story. I still don't think it's that good though. Like, oh my god, it's lagging. C tier at most. Like C tier at most. So the Vengeful Sun God's about $1 million plus. And the way you make it is kind of complicated. You could look at like a YouTube tutorial. That's how I do it. But basically, you have to sacrifice for like 50,000 of each tier except for one. I think it's support. And then the second time you sacrifice everything. Or it's the other way around. I don't know. Don't listen to me. Google like a tutorial. It's about $1 million though. And you have to, oh yeah, you have to get a maxed out middle path and a maxed out bottom path. And like, they can't be in range of it. It's super complicated. I don't know why it's that complicated. But if you do get it, it does crazy damage. I mean, it's the most expensive thing in the game. What do you expect? But for $1 million plus, it doesn't do enough. I don't think it does the most in the game. I think the Paragons do more damage, which that sounds crazy because some of them are like 400,000, 300,000, and compared to something that has $1 million plus to get, like, but the thing that's good about some of the other Paragons, especially the Buccaneer and the Ninja, is that instead of damaging the balloons, they can just absorb them, or they just automatically damage them. Like, the Ninja makes them spawn in slightly damaged, that's just so good. You can't even, imagine this, right? It's around 1 trillion, like around 1 million or something. Nobody's gonna be able to pop even a ceramic. But the Buccaneer takes in a ZOMG, like, instantly. And that's so many pops. That's like, okay, if it was like around 1 million, imagine how many pops that is. Like, at around 300, it's hard to pop Moabs. And imagine around like 1 million. Okay, that's totally random. Like, I think the record's like 700 or something. But like, that kind of gives you an idea of ultra late game. Like, you want things that kill things instantly or make it spawn in damaged. I think the things that do damage are less valuable the later you go on. And the reason I'm saying, the reason that doesn't apply to any of the other towers for their ranking, because you're not getting that thing anytime soon. Like, that thing is not coming out until way past 100. Like, getting this thing takes forever. Like, I get it, like, maybe around 150. I don't get it very much, but I get it sometimes for ultra late game. It does crazy damage. It does do crazy damage. But for the late rounds, like, the round 1 million is just an example to kind of put in perspective. But even like round 300 or 250, that, by then, it's more about absorbing balloons. Like, so I feel like the damage isn't as necessary. So that's why I'm giving it C tier. You can't ignore the fact it does crazy damage. Yes, it does do crazy damage. But it has no way of like absorbing the balloons. So, and at that late at that crazy late time when you can actually afford it. That's what's necessary. So I'm gonna put it at C tier, just for the fact I can't ignore the damage at C tier. Okay, I explained a lot on that one. This has been a long video. Sorry about that, but this is I'm gonna change a few things. Alright, I was looking at that earlier. I don't know why I put it in A, but I think it's S. And what else did I think about changing earlier? Oh, this guy. I wanted to put him at can't say. I don't think I've used him enough to really have a valuable opinion on him. And where's the other thing I wanted? There's one more thing I wanted to change. Okay, I want to rank him up, because I do use him sometimes and he's pretty good. So yeah, that's the whole tier list. I will zoom down slowly if you want to look at it one more time. This is my opinion. It just like the last video, I can have some weird rankings. Like, so, I mean, why is this at S+, really? Like, this is probably a really weird ranking. So, just don't, my opinion doesn't matter. Like, whatever you like, let's say this, right? Let's say that this guy's your favorite tower mate, or this guy. That's fine. Like, it can be good. Just because I put an F doesn't mean it's terrible. That just means I don't like it. Like, I don't like it. So, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. It's not valid. I mean, this is just my ranking. So, anyway, I'm going to zoom through it slowly so you can kind of look at it one more time. Alright, that's the whole tier list. That took forever. It's been like an hour. So, yeah, my second video on the channel. Oh, sorry, I can't do that. I'm probably gonna get like 5 views, but whatever. You know, I just kind of want to put my lists out there, and this isn't for fun. This isn't really for views. So, you know, if you're that one person watching this, thank you. Probably not, though. Probably just talking to myself for an hour. Anyway, I don't know what just happened. I'm gonna stop being depressing, and thank you for watching the video, and I hope you leave your agreements in the comments. That's about it. See ya.